Welcome to the Wynn Show, where everybody comes to win. Hey, welcome to this episode of the Wynn Show. I'm Wynn Godbold, and we are super glad that you're here to spend these few minutes with us being inspired to take action in your community. That's what the Wynn Show is all about. Everybody comes to win. Today in studio, we have with us Mr. Kevin Kraft. And Kevin is with us today because he is using his real estate business as a way to support families with autism. I can't wait for you to learn about the impact he's making and encourage you to do something of this type that feels right for you in the community where you live. So let's welcome Kevin.
Hey guys.
So good to have you with us here today.
Thanks. Great for being here.
Yeah. So what I want you to do is to first just let the folks who are watching, they come to the Wynn Show to be inspired by regular people. We're regular people, but we're doing extraordinary things. So I want you to share with them about your business, what you do, and then we'll walk it into how you're using it to support the Champion Autism Network. So first, just give our viewers an idea of who the heck are you?
So, my name's Kevin Kraft. I'm actually a realtor with High Garden Real Estate, local real estate company in the area. Also a volunteer with CAN, that is Champion Autism Network. Father of two, married to the most beautiful person I've ever met in my life. Just trying to work with the community, especially in the CAN market.
So how do you use what you do with real estate to support CAN? Because CAN is a nonprofit, the Champion Autism Network is a nonprofit, and they need support. And
Yes.
So how do you use what you do in real estate to support that nonprofit?
So we do a lot of volunteering with CAN. So we volunteer our time, but we were trying to figure out a way to not only volunteer our time, but volunteer within money aspect of CAN, because like they are a nonprofit organization. So what I've come up with is, and it doesn't matter, you don't have to be a CAN card holder, you don't even have to have somebody that's on the spectrum. We'd love you to be a CAN card holder at some point, but if I work with somebody either in the buying aspect or the selling aspect in real estate, at the time of closing, I'm going to give 10% of my closing commission straight to CAN. So that way, you know, and like I said, it doesn't matter if you have to be somebody that's part of the organization. All you have to do is just say to me, CAN, and that's how we're going to work it.
Wow. So this is what I love, because in the place where you are, in the business that you do, you have found a way to financially support the nonprofit of your choice. And so some folks who are watching with us, they may be like, well, I just work in a business, I just do whatever. And what you're really showing to these folks at home is, it doesn't matter, you have time and energy to give as a volunteer, but also you do have financial resources. And this is how you do it. So at time of closing, whether he's selling a home for you, whether he's helping you buy a home, if when you hire Kevin to be your representative, you mention Champion Autism Network, then you know that through the purchase or sale of your home, you too are supporting this amazing network and the work that they do.
Well, see, here's the thing. You know, even with us, we don't have, you know, your day-to-day money to just be able to donate. We would love it if we had more to donate, but it's coming up with ways that, like this, through your purchase or through your sale, you are actually benefiting them more than you'd ever know. Because a lot of times with nonprofits, money is the thing that they have the hardest time with. You know, you can volunteer, which is great, volunteer, you know, as much as you can, but the financial aspect of it is what allows them to build and get involved with different areas, different, you know what I mean, aspects of it. So
Yeah, and CAN provides tons of services to families. So they serve, I think, even just in the Horry, Georgetown County area, it's over 700 families that they serve. So you know, when you do business with Kevin, you just really can feel good about that, because you know whatever transaction you have, 10% of that right off the top straight to CAN. So it's a win-win-win. It's a win.
it's a win.
Yeah, that's what we love around here is win-win-wins. Yeah. So let me ask you, like, what inspired you to go into real estate? Have you been in real estate for a long time?
No, I've only been in real estate for 2 years now. So it's kind of one of those, you know, different paths than most people have. So I did construction my whole life. So I started doing construction when I was like 16, 17 years old. Did construction basically until March of 2009.
Okay.
So at that point, I actually was doing construction and working at Lowe's Home Improvement, and I got ran over by a forklift. So,
And he's lived to tell about it.
yeah, well, to be honest, God works in mysterious ways. It's to be, you know, I have the, you know when it's going to rain
Yes. Yeah.
situation now that I used to think was in people's heads, but it is true. But it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Okay.
I got ran over. Right after I got run over, we found out we were pregnant with our first child. So, you know, when my son was born, I was actually able to be a father at home because I was on workman's comp for 3.5 years.
Okay.
So I got up with him and did all that. My wife was still working. So in the meantime, my son got diagnosed with autism.
So here is the heart connection between you and Champion Autism Network.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So yes, my son is on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
So he was diagnosed. So like a lot of families, my wife worked during the day. I had to find something at night, you know, because he's got therapies, he's got this, he's got that. It's very hard to juggle all that. So I was actually delivering for a pizza place because it was really at the time the only place that I could find that was a nighttime job. So I have been trying to figure out, you know, I want to do something more. Well, I did construction my whole life.
Yeah.
My body isn't what it used to be. Age starts to happen. So I started thinking, what is another avenue that I can incorporate my doing construction and still, you know, be involved in that, but also help people. So I started thinking about real estate. So real estate came into my life a little over 2 years ago.
Okay.
I actually used my construction. I did construction for somebody and bartered my money to pay for real estate classes. So I was able to use
Where
the
there's
construction.
a will, there is a way,
Yes.
folks. When you are called to do something, you have to do it, and the way will appear.
Yes.
Sometimes you gotta be creative, but the
yeah.
way will appear, okay?
So with that, you know, it was, you want to say flexible hours, but they're not flexible hours. But
It's just a lot of hours all the time,
they're
right?
just, hours here, hours there. But flexible in the way that if I have to take my son to a therapy, I can revolve stuff around that. You know, so it's not, you have to be here at 7 and you get off at 4, you have to be here at 12 and you get off at 8.
Yeah.
It's, you know, tomorrow if I have something for him, I can just schedule my day around that.
Okay.
So it's still incorporated that, you know, my wife works during the day, I kind of do the other stuff.
Okay.
You know, when she gets home, I can do my job as well.
Yeah.
So, and I guess 2.5 years ago, we got hooked up with CAN.
Okay.
Once we got hooked up with CAN, it's been a game changer for my whole family.
Wow.
You know, and now we are more involved with CAN than really anything else. I mean, CAN is such a huge part of our life, and my wife works for CAN. You know, I do volunteering with CAN, and all this kind of incorporated when me and my wife sat down and said, what else can we do for CAN? And that's when the aspect of giving the commission came into play.
Fantastic. Love the story of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long, like I said, it's a long,
It's the long story.
long strange trip, but
Where have you
it's
been and how do we get there?
Yes.
Sorry about getting run over by the forklift. That's but hey, it opened the door to everything else, right? It enabled you to be home with your son, and then
most people, like especially dads,
yeah,
never get to experience what I experienced, and it's it was literally one of the most beautiful things that's ever happened to me in my life. I mean, I was able to, from the birth to 2.5, I was able to raise my son.
That's a gift.
Oh, it's more than a gift. It's just it's I don't even know how to express. You know, I missed that with my daughter.
Right.
But you know,
we take what we have.
One
and
out
be
of
grateful
two
for
is
that.
one out of two is good enough.
Is
for me.
very good. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is take just a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you about if you can share with us a fun story. From real estate or from CAN. So come back in just a moment. We'll just break for a second, and then we're gonna let Kevin give us a little heads up on a good story. Welcome back. We are in studio talking with Kevin Kraft, who is a local realtor who gives 10% of his commission at closing to Champion Autism Network. And he's prepared to tell us a little story here about how you got into real estate. Is that right? Or no, this is Emma. Emma has told you. Yeah. So Emma is his daughter, and then I'm going to be quiet and not mess it up. So tell him about Emma.
So I guess at the beginning I should have also said I also work for a pizza place delivering pizzas.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was kind of my segue from being on workman's comp to where I am now. So I still work there. During the summertime I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Right now I work like Sunday or whatever. It's just extra money, and it's, you know, it's easy. Well, my kids, all of our jobs, my kids call it our workplaces. I don't know where it ever started from. I think it was my son started workhouse, right?
Oh, the workhouse.
Yeah. So
Okay.
This is your workhouse, your workhouse. So 2 weeks ago, my wife is doing umpteen million jobs, trying to move forward in her purpose in life. So it was a Monday, she wasn't home for dinner because she had meetings. And then Tuesday, she wasn't home for dinner. She had meetings and stuff. So it's Wednesday, I picked the kids up from school, and right away my daughter goes, Daddy, what's for dinner? Is Mommy gonna be home for dinner? Well, first off, if you know our family, I am not the dinner person. That's my wife. She figures out what we're having for dinner. She makes the dinner. So my first thought was, you know, shoot, I don't have no clue what we're having for dinner.
Okay.
But then also it was like I felt bad because she was asking, is Mommy going to be home for dinner? So I thought it a good time to talk with the kids about what Mommy's doing and, you know, trying to move forward in these jobs and this, that, and the other. So I'm talking to them, and all of a sudden my daughter goes, well, why doesn't she just work at your workhouse? And I was like, well, first off, Mommy doesn't want to do real estate. Why would she want to work at my real estate office? And all of a sudden my son goes, and then she could eat pizza all the time. And I'm like, oh, they're talking about the pizza place.
Oh,
because, and you forget, you know, we're driven, we're looking, but with kids, it's very simple. They want me and us to work there because they get food. Like, they go to the workhouse and they eat food there.
Yeah.
They don't care.
And it's pizza, no doubt,
It's
so
pizza,
it's delicious.
yeah. They don't care if you could not make a dime at that place. As long as when they got there they could get food. To them, that's like the greatest job ever. So it was like, I told my wife about it, and she like chuckled too about it. She's like, you know, you were trying to be serious, and I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be serious with them, and this is what mommy's doing, and all, and they're like, we just want pizza. And then the
Oh my
conversation, you know, progressed into, can we go get pizza tonight?
Yeah, so John have pizza Wednesday night for supper?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I
yeah.
love it.
So that's the most recent funny story when it comes to me, the kids, and work.
Yeah. So there's a theme that I'm really hearing here with you and with Katie. Katie is Kevin's wife. That you're in a place right now where you're both working 2 or more jobs.
Yes.
You're really focused on and trying to grow yourselves personally, to work inside of your purpose, to give back to your communities, and to build a momentum.
Yes.
And I love what you're bringing to the show today, because we've had people on the show several times who have been in their businesses for 5 and 10 years and everything's rolling. And I think you're bringing such a great perspective here, because this is the early days. This is only 2 years into real estate. This is Katie really making some big decisions about living in purpose, and really saying, why am I here, and how do we best care for our children? We have special needs, with your son. We're doing everything that it takes right now. And this is the critical part. And this is where a lot of people who are watching, maybe they say, well, I don't think I could do that, or I want to do that. Or they've seen other people who make it seem too easy. And what you're showing is, look, for a period of time, it is balls to the walls.
Yeah.
You gotta do the work. And then when we talk to you in another 12 months, and Katie, things will have also drastically changed.
Yeah.
Because you're putting it in up front, and we know it's the law of cause and effect. What we put into cause is returned to us. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, trust me, it was very daunting for me when I first started thinking about doing this show.
Yeah.
Because I've watched some of the other ones.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen where, like, these people are, like, where they want to be, or at least on the outside, where they want to be.
It looks
right?
good from the outside.
And I'm, like, thinking to myself, well, why do they want me?
Yeah.
And once again, any husbands out there, this, the wife
Tells you
pretty
what to
much
do.
tells you what it is.
Uh-huh.
She said, your story's an awesome story because you gave up everything for your child. Mm-hmm. And now you're trying to go in a new direction to bring it all back.
Yeah.
And I was like, when you're doing it every day,
Mm-hmm.
you don't look at that perspective.
Yeah.
You look at what you have to do that day.
Right.
But when you start to look back at it, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I guess I did.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think about it that way,
Right.
but I guess that is kind of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But, you don't always have to be, where you're going to be for it to be a good story.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's really the excitement of the journey.
Yeah.
The growth is what people identify with. And so I just know there are folks who will watch this episode and be like, oh my gosh, he and his wife both are out there getting it. And I need to step up my own game if I really want to get the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the interesting part is, right, it's not about getting the thing actually. It's about the journey and becoming the person who can have constant growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that in y'all.
Because also, if you ever get to the point of going, this is all I want, what do you do then?
Yeah, then you can just die.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have died before they even started living. They're like walking around dead, so we don't want that. Yeah. But I love too that from the get-go with the real estate piece, that you guys combine that with CAN, and that you're like, we want to give to this, because I know that being recipients of the Champion Autism Network events, that did a lot for your family, and now you're giving back to that.
Oh, yeah.
So like pouring into that organization. So the next question I want to ask you kind of builds off of the where you are right now, but in, say, these last 2 years of building the real estate business and the transitions that you guys are going through as a family, has there ever been a time where you just felt like, this is just impossible? I just can't see that it will happen. And how did you get beyond that?
Yeah. So I was actually telling somebody earlier that she was another real estate agent. Last year, I had, in the course of 4 months, 6 deals that fell through. And it wasn't just, if it's financial, is it hard? Yeah. But it is what it is. It's kind of out of your hands.
Okay.
These were 6 that were completely all different. One was a title. Nobody could find a title. One was the people, we were fighting back and forth about repairs, and it just fell through. And then my client just said, I'm done. No look at another property, no look at anything, I'm done. And it had gotten to the point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because
feeling beat up, eh?
well, every time it happened, you kick yourself, because you go, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What happened? And it's funny because I had to talk, because I'm big on talking to people that have been doing it for a long time. Because
great nugget right there. Talk to other people who've been doing it.
Yeah.
Learn the lessons from others.
Well, because they've probably had the same situation that you have had.
Yeah.
So there was another agent. I went in and I was like, do you have some time? And he goes, oh yeah. So I just started off by saying, I don't know what to do anymore. He was like, well, walk me through everything. So I literally spent an hour walking my way through every one of these deals. And he was like, so what's wrong? And I was like, well, I mean, I could have done this, I could have done that. And he goes, nah, probably not. And he goes, real estate it's very complicated, but in essence, it's very simple. When you're a buyer's agent, if you can bring a qualified buyer to a qualified house that they can afford, you've done your job.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, but what about all this other stuff? And he goes, yeah, like I said, it's very complex, and there's a lot of things going on. He's like, but if you do that, you've done your job. And I was like, well, that's pretty, it's simple.
There it is. Why do we make it so hard?
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself as you're saying that, boy, it would be good for you to talk to Emma about this, because she had it really clear, right? Work means we get
food.
Pizza. Yeah, so real estate means you match a person with a house.
Well,
Don't make it harder.
If anybody out there knows my daughter, she's 6 years old and she's a girl. And I'm starting to figure out
speaks
that that's
volumes right
like,
there.
23, 24, 25, whatever it is. But she's also a therapy child. So she's been involved with therapists that have come to the house. She's listened to them. She literally tries to be the therapist for my son.
Ah, okay.
And me and my wife will be like, look, going over stuff when she steps in. Now, this is what you're spending, whoa.
Yeah.
Step back, you're 6 years old. But to be honest, most of the stuff that she says is true. I hate to say that.
Yeah. Don't show her this when she's 16, right? We'll keep this one hidden from her in 10 years, yeah. But so you've run up against the wall, you've had these deals that have closed in a short period of time, but you go and you get some mentorship from someone in the business, and he says, hey,
get back on the wagon.
Get back on.
Yeah.
And is that all it took?
Well, I think for me, there's always that aspect of I still think about those and what could I have done better.
Okay.
But I don't think that's a bad thing to do.
No,
because
we want to reflect and do better every time.
You always want to, be the best that you can be for your clients.
Yeah.
But it also took me just getting back on the phone and calling people. You start, and then you start getting engaged with other things, you start to forget about that a little bit.
Gotcha.
And then, things start happening for you. You're always going to have setbacks.
Yeah.
If you can't deal with setbacks in life, then you need to call Wynn.
Yeah, exactly. Call me. We all believe, it's like we all want to say it's okay to fail forward, fail often, fail fast, and all that. But really, if we feel like we failed, there's still like this ingrained thing that says failure, right? So, but what I'm hearing from you is the way that you move beyond that is get back in action. Just get back in action. Reflect on it, absolutely. Grow from it, absolutely. Learn the lessons, yes, sir. I'm with you on all those things. But the bottom line for you, when it felt impossible to get it back into possibility and making this thing happen, was just do it. Just do the work, right? I mean, let's don't make it more complicated.
With those deals falling through,
Uh-huh.
that's when I first had the thought of doing the commission for Can. Which it shouldn't have been that, because I was losing out on commissions. I shouldn't have been thinking about paying forward my commissions.
Right.
But that's when I first had the thought of, this is what I want to do with it.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't,
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic right there. This is what gives you, look at this beautiful blessing that is going to have a ripple effect over so many families, 700 locally, and then all of the tourist families that Can, serves in this market and now nationwide. You're supporting that cause, but if you'd not gotten to that point, you wouldn't have had to dig deeper to find that in yourself. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Look, that's how we take the lemons and make the lemonade,
Well, like
right?
I said, it probably shouldn't have been the time for me to be thinking about that. But
it was the perfect
you
time.
Sometimes it's not your choice on when you think about what you're going to do.
So important, Kevin. If things had been rolling and rocking and you had gotten every one of those deals, right, you'd have just been more in the success mindset, just doing the thing on the daily, like you said before. But it was, they fell through, and they had to fall through to a large degree to get you to stop, to examine, to think, and then to be open for that awareness of, wow, this is what I really can be doing.
Yeah.
This is the difference I really can be making.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's crazy for me to think about now, but it's like...
Yeah, that's how we got to this space.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's way bigger than just real estate's a possibility for you. This is the I'm possible lifestyle. This is making a difference in people's lives through giving this 10%, and it came out of that deepest, darkest, holy crap moment, right? Yeah. That's a ton of nuggets. We want to give you a minute to think that one through, and we're going to come right back. And when we do, I'm going to ask you about how do you stay focused to take those actions. So you guys come back in just a second, and we'll wrap up with Kevin. So welcome back. We are talking with Kevin Kraft, local realtor, who gives back from his commissions into Champion Autism Network and is making a huge difference in this community. Kevin, I want to talk to you. We left out kind of at the commercial break, so to speak, talking about you going from that moment of Ike's to making this difference and how you came to decide to give to Can. What I want to do now, because what you said to us before the break was, you just have to get back in action.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, get back in action. So how do you stay focused? Are there things that you listen to, or do you have a daily practice? Do you read something, podcast? Like, what keeps you in the game?
So I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
I listen to like Mike Ferry. I'm actually starting to listen to some of the local podcasts of realtors that are doing things.
Okay.
I listen a lot to K-Love.
Oh,
And
to the radio station, K-Love, big
K-Love,
shout out.
yeah, it's very big Christian radio stations. And it helps me. I listen to it in the car, we listen to it at home, we listen to it all the time. But it helps me when everything is going crazy. If I listen to K-Love, everything slows down. And I get more perspective of, I listen to the stories that people have on there. And I listen to, some of the things that the hosts are talking about. Because I'll admit, there's times with my son, you're like, where are we going? We don't know where we're going. We don't know what the future is going to bring. But then I listen to some of this stuff, and it's like, there's always somebody out there that has it worse than you do. And when you're in your head, that's the hard to figure out sometimes.
Yeah.
But there are always somebody that has it, harder than you. But also, it's like, it brings me that soothing of, okay, once I listen to something, we can get through this. We can do this. It's not a big deal. So, K-Love, like I said, I listen to podcasts. I'm getting big now into watching interior design stuff, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I love when I have buyers out of the house. I love being able to say, it would look good if you had this here or that there. I like that aspect of it. It's
Who do
kinda
you like to
bringing that-
watch interior design?
I don't have anybody particular.
Okay. Do you watch HGTV? Not so much.
So-
I love it. Okay.
I don't. HDTV has kind of destroyed the real estate aspect of it.
Oh dear.
People, everybody out there, for the most part, 99% of the people, you're not going to go see 3 houses
And make a
and
decision.
buy one of them.
Yeah.
If I could have clients that go see 3 houses and buy one of them,
In 30 minutes.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Or an hour.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I was talking to somebody the other day. I kind of do like Property Brothers.
Okay.
I like the aspect of, I don't like the real estate aspect of
Right.
it. I like the getting a house and then redesigning it
Yeah.
aspect of it. I kind of like that. I can't believe I'm saying this, that HGTV, my mother-in-law watches HGTV all day long.
Yeah.
So, shout out, hi Libby. But I like that kind of stuff. I watch woodworking stuff too.
Okay.
Woodworking is, I wish I had more time to do it, but I like watching what people create with wood, stuff like that. It
Yeah.
kind of takes me away from, once again, all the craziness that life brings.
Yeah.
I can kind of watch something like that and go, ooh, that would be awesome to do.
Yeah. So it's important that we step away. Some things give you the relief, other things, like you said, listening to the real estate podcast. So you're investing in you and your craft, you're investing in you taking care of yourself, being able to step away for a few minutes of that, the pressure from home and children and working 2 jobs, and so there's a mix of things that really keep you going.
Yeah.
So it's good for our folks to understand. We were having some jokes before we came on camera about binge watching, right? Just wanting to sit and binge watch. And there's a time and a place for everything, but when your binge begins to impede rather than to serve you for relaxation, it's all relative, right? But sometimes it takes 2 or 3 episodes before we can totally wind down, and we can't be in our creative best unless we've had a chance to wind down.
Yeah.
So stepping away is good.
Oh yeah, it's definitely good. I think it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Because if you're going on the same thing all the time, I mean, I know focusing on one thing is good because it benefits the rest of your life. But if you focus on that one thing for so long, it also can start to hurt the rest of your life.
Yes,
absolutely. Especially
well said.
you. Your body, your everything about you can start to get affected by that. So it's definitely good. Kids are good to have.
They're a good distraction,
they're
right?
good. They're a great distraction.
Pressure, but distraction as well. Yeah. Super. Well, I have really enjoyed spending some time with you here, and I think you've shared some things with our viewers that they can latch onto and go, yeah, I relate to that, and then to be able to say, all right, if Kevin can do this, if he can, and your wife, if you and Katie can both put in this kind of work right here in the beginning, knowing that you're working towards this bigger goal, then our viewers say to themselves, then what do I need to do, right? Our viewers say, I'm going to take that inspiration and begin to change and go for my bigger purpose too.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
One thing I wanted to say too, and I'm not sure if you were going to ask about this.
Well,
but
give it a whirl, let's see.
What we found the most important thing for us too is get yourself around people that have a purpose, are inspired. It is, whether you want it or not, and being around you, being around some other people, we joke about it. Once they get you in their grass, it's, you know, you might as well just lock on and get ready for the ride. But if you get around people that are inspired, that have a purpose, that it forces you, without you realizing it, to start thinking more. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's one of the biggest takebacks that me and my wife have from getting involved with CAN, is that we've got ourselves around those type of people. Once you get yourself around those type of people, it's, you know, it is. It really, really is. It can be hard sometimes because that fear that you have, it's strong, but being around those people, you know, that fear slowly starts to go down a little bit. And once it starts to go down, like, relish it, love it, because it's only going to be good for you and the people around you. You know what I mean? So it's one of the most important things that we've done in the past 2 years, which is one of the main reasons why we are where we are right now and going forward. So
I was gonna ask you.
Were you?
Yes, I'm glad you went there. That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna tell
like
you,
I
hey,
said,
let them know what it is.
Whether you want to or not, it's going to happen. So you can either put your head in the dirt and hope it away, or you can pull your head up and just go with it. And I say go with it because the sky's the limit once you start getting around those type people. So.
And then you become that person.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
others
you
are
become
like,
that person
hey,
for other people.
yeah.
And it's like a domino effect that, you know, it's like, I live with this every day. I live, my wife, one of the biggest inspirations for me right now is my wife. She's found what she is her purpose and what she is supposed to do and what she loves. And it's hard sometimes because you go, well, why don't I have that fully? Well, it's there. It's just, yours is like this, hers is like this, another person's is like this, another person's might be like this.
Yeah.
But it's there. You know, you're working your way to figure out what it is, you know, and she has figured out what it is. Unbelievable.
And she is causing you to really figure yours.
Yeah,
and she's getting it. Yeah, absolutely. So in the last couple of just, 30 seconds or so that we have here together, I want you to look dead into the camera, okay? And I just want you to give your best sales pitch. Like, so what do we come to Kevin Kraft for in real estate? I want you to, this is your chance to push Kevin in Highgarden.
Well, the main reason why come to me is because of the CAN aspect of it. Whether you have the money or not, you're going to live your life, and through you living your life and working with me, it's going to help so many people. CAN is branching into other states and other areas. But the main thing is, I also, if you have somebody that is disabled, you know, I live with that. I understand. You know, if you call me and say, hey, such and such had a breakdown, that's fine. Most likely mine probably had a breakdown earlier. So we're good. But come to me, I mean, it's like this. If you want to do for other people, come to me, and through me, you're going to be doing for other people. So.
And you will work as our buyer's agent as well as our seller agent.
Oh, buyer's agent, seller's agent, yeah. Yeah.
So it's meeting your need. If you need a house or you want to sell yours, Kevin's your guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be giving to Champion Autism Network. Your transaction's going to have a huge impact on a lot of families. So, yeah. And this has been a great conversation. You're a comfortable guy to talk to. Had some fun here. I'm sure that we could continue to tell some good stories.
You've learned a little bit more about the family.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
So thank you for being here,
Thanks
for sharing your
having me.
story,
Thanks for
and
having
thank you
me.
for supporting Champion Autism Network, right?
It's
In the work
it's my
that you
life.
do.
Yeah.
and for being an example to all of our viewers of how we begin to step into our purpose, what it takes for us to get to our purpose, a great environment of people around you who model it and believe in yours, and then to stay focused and to be in action, because that's truly how we make the difference.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that you shared with us again. In the beginning, it's balls to the walls, y'all, but it pays off. And so it's going to be coming back. It's just a great circle of life.
Yeah.
So you really have brought that to us here today.
Thank you.
And we appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of The Wynn Show and that you are inspired now to dig deep and to find a way that you too can make that impact in your community that you've been wanting to make. Take Kevin's model, step forward, and just act. Make it happen. We'll see you another time for another episode of The Wynn Show. Bye now. Thank you for watching this episode of The Wynn Show. This is Wynn, and I'm inviting you to discover what's possible in your life by joining me in the I'm Possible Discovery program. You can find all the details at bsharp.us/join.